everybody, how are you all doing today? My emotions are kind of like all over the place right now because I just read a beautiful and thought-provoking and just fantastic, mind-blowing book. I read this book last night and I was going to do a review on it right after I finished it, but I was crying and I was a mess. And I was like, I don't really feel like I should do a review right now. I kind of look like a hot mess. Today I am going to be telling you guys about the book Stolen by Lucy Christopher. I started and finished this book all in 3 hours. There's something very captivating about this book, and I will go into further depth about it in this review, but first you guys probably would like to know what this book is about. Stolen is a standalone and it follows a 16-year-old girl from England named Gemma who is at the Bangkok airport with her parents when she is suddenly kidnapped. Gemma's kidnapper is a very strange and mysterious yet bizarrely charming young man by the name of Tai, who brings her with him to his country, Australia, to the middle of nowhere in the desert. And so this book follows the very unsettling yet captivating journey of Gemma's as she is stuck with her kidnapper, whom she knows nothing about other than the fact that he seems to know quite a bit about her. This book has so many unique elements to it. This book only has 2 characters. Don't be intimidated by this fact because it is actually what makes this book so intriguing. That is what's so great about this book, is the fact that we have this very unlikely pair thrown into the middle of nowhere, and it's just the focus of the story is just entirely on these 2 opposite characters, and we get to watch this strange and unique relationship dynamic develop and grow throughout the story, and it just blows your mind, and it will give you so many contrasting emotions because it's such a complicated situation. You want to keep reading, you want to figure out what you really feel about these characters, and you want to find out what really happens for them. This is much darker and more complicated than a young adult romance. There are many more layers to this, and it's not that simple. The next unique aspect about this book is the fact that it is in the form of a letter. The book starts off with the main character, Gemma, writing a letter to her kidnapper, Tai, which already sets a very strange and confusing beginning for the book because the reader is already wondering, why is she writing a letter to Tai? What happens in the end? So it already is adding that element of suspense right from the start because you want to finish and you want to find out why is Gemma writing this letter. But when I say that the book is in letter form, I don't mean that the entire book is like, Dear Tai, blah, 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 blah. The book is still written as any normal book, but it's written from Gemma's perspective as if she were telling the story to the readers, but in this case she's telling the story to Tai through a letter. And lastly, another unique aspect about this book is the fact that we are only really given one setting in this book, which is the middle of nowhere in Australia, which again just puts most of the focus on the characters. And I think that was my favorite thing about this book, is that this is a book that's really dedicated entirely to character development and relationship dynamics between 2 unlikely characters. What is crazy about this book is that there isn't really any big things happening. It's not a fast-paced, action-packed type of book at all. But that does not take away from how entertaining it is and how quickly you will be flying through the pages, because somehow Lucy Christopher manages to just hook her reader's attention solely between the interaction and relationship of these 2 characters. So I've already been talking a lot about the character dynamic in this book, but let me just touch briefly on both of these 2 characters individually. Gemma, I think, portrays really well some of the struggles of being a young teenage girl. She makes mistakes, she is still trying to make sense of her emotions and her feelings and her maturity, and especially being thrown into such a horrible situation that she is in at such a young age. You really see her being forced to grow up and make some really difficult decisions, but I really respected her character and the way she thought things through and the way she acted despite her circumstances, and I just found her to be a very relatable and enjoyable character to read about. Ty is a very complicated character to talk about because he is a kidnapper, and I'm not going to say much about his character because I don't want to spoil this book for people, and I think that Ty is something that should remain a mystery for this book. I don't really want to talk that much about Ty because he really is the main mystery of this book, and I can't really reveal that much about his character without spoiling the plot. The emotions that come up from this book really forces and challenges you to reassess how you view characters in books and characters in real life. And that's all I'm gonna say. That was probably very confusing and probably didn't make any sense, but let's just say that Ty is going to be a character that you will have to determine for yourself how you feel about. I mean, how can you like a kidnapper? How can you feel bad for a kidnapper? But I guess you'll just have to read the book to find out what you feel. The setting was one of my favorite parts. Lucy Christopher just does a phenomenal job at creating such a vivid and real atmosphere. I am just blown away by her writing skills and her ability to make the reader literally feel as if they are standing in the middle of a hot, dry desert in Australia. I mean, I could literally feel the hot air on my face as I was reading this book. I don't know if this has ever happened to you guys before, where you have a setting that feels so real that you actually are starting to feel like the physical effects of being in that environment, or maybe I'm just crazy. But I actually was like taking off my jacket. I was like, oh my god, it is getting hot in here. What's unique about the writing is it's not a normal narrative voice. It is really the voice of Gemma because it's her writing a letter. So somehow Lucy Christopher manages to capture the voice of a young adult girl in a way that is still beautiful writing and impressive writing. This book changed my perspective on just life in general, and that does not happen to me often when I'm reading books, especially young adult books, and it just blew me away that it could have that kind of effect on me, and I immediately gave it 5 stars and I added it to my favorites list because it is definitely a new favorite of mine, and I think it's a book that everybody should read, although I will say that it might be a bit of a triggering book for some people because there are some very emotional parts in this book and some sensitive topics, and just the entire plot of this book in general is a complicated and a sensitive one. So it's not for everybody, but I really would urge people to look into this book and give it a try, and just don't even think about it. Just go into this book and just read it like I did. Like, don't think, just start and watch. You won't be able to stop, and you will finish it in 3 hours like I did. I don't even know if this review made sense because this book is so complicated, but basically what the point of this video is that I just want to emphasize that this is a book that I want all of you guys to go read, despite how confusing this review has been, probably. And I loved it. I give it 5 stars. It's a new favorite of mine, and just read it and then we will talk about it and you will understand why I do not make any sense right now and why I can't talk. I haven't been so emotional about a book in a long time, and so I just really want you guys to experience this. So definitely go and check it out. The link to this book will be in the description down below. If any of you guys have read this book, please let me know in the comments below so that we can talk about it and I have somebody else who has read it and understands what I'm feeling, because I haven't talked to anyone about it yet and I'm like, still just my mind is spinning. With that being said, I think that will be it for today. So I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. I hope that you all go and have yourselves a fabulous day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!